Hello everyone. I've gotten some requests for a flip through of the journal I'm keeping in, partly these days it's in conjunction with a class called Stop the Blur that Heidi Swapp is teaching. And it's a simple class that teaches you a few little techniques for keeping what are they called? Memory planner. And mine isn't technically a memory planner, but it works kind of the same way. It's a journal. And yet I'm using small photographs the way people do in their memory planners and just kind of doing it in a different way. So I thought I would give a little flip through since some of you have been asking for that, and mainly try to focus on the pages that I've done in response to the Stop the Blur prompts. Okay, so I use a Moleskine. This is a super cool one that I got at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame a few years ago, with denim on the cover, skinny flared boot cut, book cut rather, hard to say. Okay, so I'll show you the edge here. I'm using Heidi Swapp's tab dividers for the months, and I started in April. The first page, I'm just kind of putting cool stickers that I've gotten from various packaging and that sort of thing. Now, I guess I'll say a few things about the journal. Besides writing and keeping memories, I love it as a place for just like experimenting with stamps, using stickers that I wouldn't really use elsewhere necessarily, pulling older things out of my stash. And I think you'll see that as you go along. It's very eclectic and playful and fast and fun, and mainly just for myself. But I am sharing it because I think this is a mode some of you I think are interested in trying. So I wanted to give you an example of that. Okay, so some of these pages I'm just going to flip through till we get to some things that I want to comment on. This is a chance for me to use the Studio Calico stamp subscription stamps, and they're so great. But I sorry, that's my dog barking, and not good timing here. And anyway, as you'll see in these early pages, what I'm mainly doing is using washi tape and stamps along the edges. Okay, I guess we're just gonna have a backdrop of barking. Hazel. Okay, so again, stamps and washi. Sorry about that. Another instance of using that stamp set. This is a good example too of a cute little stamp designed by Brandy Kincaid a few years ago that I haven't had much use for, but I just love it, like right here in the journal. And as I page through, I get to enjoy some of these stamps also from that set. Die cuts. I have some month die cuts that I don't use nearly enough. That, you know, obviously I mean die cut machine metal dies. And so I've been pulling things like that out a lot more and using them in this context. That's great. It's really a good stash busting project. One of my favorite stamps that I use in my art journal a lot. Just makes me happy. I also use printables in here. This I've printed on clear sticker paper, a really beautiful design from Illustrated Faith. So I like the way I can get better use out of my digital downloads too. I like to experiment with like little collages. It's a great way to use all your days of the week stamps and motifs. Okay, let's just move ahead here. So glad Hazel has settled down. Another little collage. This is just something I got from a wrapper, but that's the thing. You can use your own ephemera. Cute little peach stamp. Randomness. Okay, so here's the first one inspired by Heidi Swapp's class. And so that's an example of her printables. As you can see, I'm using photos. The photos that I'm using in this sometimes are similar to what I might use in Project Life, but in some ways they can be like just as casual and kind of random as I want, because it's really just for me. Little Heidi loves these little flip ups, and so do I, and I'm learning a lot about how to use them from her class. Here's a great example of some of my personal ephemera, just from some packaging that I really liked, and it makes me smile to go back through this and see things like that. Okay, this is, again, inspired by the class, just doing the journaling in kind of bullet points. So little scraps of this and that from my day. Okay, so back to kind of the planner style without photos, but with plenty of stamping and stickers and washi. Then here's the June, some work I did in June based on some ideas from the class. This wonderful little envelope from the printable, which I printed on vellum. If you can kind of see the iridescent vellum. And this is a flip up where I had a chance to add some more details underneath. And then this is the most recent work I've done. And I really like this little matchbook style element from the printables. And for this one, I put a picture of that rascal who's been barking, Hazel, going to her favorite lookout window, which is where she is right now. Quite appropriate, huh? I just finished the 100-day project, so this flag was a little like, yes, celebration of it. Heidi Swapp encourages or demonstrates a lot of use of colored pencils, and I love colored pencils too. They're a really great way just to add a little interest, a little color. They go over things really nicely. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's all that flipped up on that page. This page also has a flip up. I'm saving these wonderful little packaging illustrations from Illustrated Faith, and it's fun to have a place to put them and again to look back on. Really like the way this little matchbook turned out with a page from my art journal and then highlights. And then what I've done inside this flip up is journaling about my 100-day project and some of the highlights of it. Just did that on clear sticker paper and put it inside the little matchbook. Books I'm teaching this fall, so I wrote a little bit about how I'm preparing for the semester, some thoughts on tea, since I'm a big tea drinker. Again, was able to use some of my stamps relevant to that. Use some colored pencils with this day of the week stamp. This whole 3 pages is just about Saturday. That's one thing to notice, that I don't really do a weekly spread where it's even. I do a spurt of a whole bunch of stuff about one day, and then I go on to using not so many photos but telling stories, and then another day will kind of spring into life with lots of photos. That's my rhythm so far, because it'd be very labor intensive, I think, to do this every day. But I guess if you do a week in review, that works. Definitely that works too. That's kind of more my Project Life approach. So I'm trying to think about how I'm fitting this into everything else I do. Photo collages are great for this kind of project. I've been cutting them up and using little pictures, but sometimes, I'm just keeping them together as I did in this one. Here's a great example of pulling out an old stamp and playing with it. Okay, so that gives you a quick little walkthrough. Sorry again about my dogs barking, but just wanted to make this kind of casual and give you an idea of what I'm doing. Thanks a lot. I'll catch up with you later.